It is crazy how expensive hot hatchbacks are today, and also how fast they depreciate. Today I'm going to talk to you about 5 hot hatchbacks that you could have bought in 2023 brand new that depreciated an absolute ton in their first year of ownership. Do hit the like button if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe as well if you're new. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's get this video started with the Hyundai i30N Performance, a car that has literally just been pulled from the European market at the time of making this video, as the brand focuses on electric N cars instead, which is a real shame because this package is absolutely stunning. Albert Biermann, formerly from BMW's M division, moved to Hyundai to run their performance department, hence a lot of people will tell you that the i30N has some BMW DNA in it. Yes, it's not as quick as an M135i, but then it's not meant to be, as it's a much cheaper car brand new. In fact, brand new in 2023, you would have bought one of these for around £36,000 with no spec options on it. Now you're looking at around £30,500 at the bottom end, and you'll find plenty at the 32k mark. This means 15.28% depreciation in 1 year, or a total loss of 5.5k, which isn't the absolute end of the world, but then most of these i30Ns have less than 5,500 miles on them, so you've lost more than £1 per mile it's been driven. But you will have had fun doing it, as you will have been out enjoying that 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 engine, producing 276 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 5.2 seconds, which is pretty reasonable for a hot hatch nowadays. So why has this car depreciated so much? I think it's one of the best equipped and value for money cars on the list, but given Hyundai don't really have a huge history of performance cars, it doesn't necessarily have the allure that other brands might have, at least here in the UK, where brand snobbery does run deep. 1 in 6 car buyers would actively name themselves badge snobs in the UK, and 64% will literally not buy a car because of its badge, which I think provides the perfect situation for cars like this to get overlooked. Another great example is Skoda. Tell anyone over the age of 40 there's this new Skoda that's a great car they should consider, and they'll shudder and remember the old days of when the best way to make a Skoda go faster was to push it. Basically what I'm saying here is don't ignore this car because of the Hyundai badge. Next up we have the Abarth 695, which actually gives a bit of an old school hot hatch vibe. I say that mostly because of its performance. It's the slowest car on the list to 60 and the least powerful, but it's also the smallest and the most go-karty. I've not yet driven the 695, but I have driven the 595, and it provides a super fun, brash experience that makes you feel like a hooligan in the exact way a hot hatch really should, at least in my opinion. And that's all thanks to its 1.4-litre turbocharged inline-4 engine, which makes 180 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 6.5 seconds. If you bought one of these brand new in 2023, you would have spent around £26,000 for one of these simpler specs, making it the cheapest car on the list, but today you'll be spending nearer the 21.5k region, with plenty available for £1,000 more than that. That means that in the space of 1 year, this car is depreciated by 17.31%, or 4.5k in total, but wait until you see the jump we have to the next car on this list depreciation. I think with the Abarth, even with so many facelifts over the years and updates to bring new content to the car, it's still the same old car in many people's minds, and given the previous generations have all depreciated down pretty nicely, there's not always a reason in people's heads to splash out on a more expensive, much newer one. I mean, you can get a 2017 model for under 10k if you look hard enough, and that really doesn't feel very old given the main facelift in this car's life cycle was 2016. The 695 badge has, however, mostly been retained for special editions of the Abarth, which is why when you compare the prices to the cheapest 595s on the market, it's night and day, as you'll easily get an old 595 for under 5k nowadays, with not dissimilar performance figures and overall package. Also, the 695 is polarizing in a way. I personally think they're great little cars, but some people give them the hairdresser's car tag, and a lot of people fear being emasculated, so might not be as willing to open their wallet. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on them in the comments down below. In third on this list, we have the car formerly known as the Seat Leon, but now as the Cupra Leon VZ3, in line with the VW Group's shift to separating Seat performance cars into their own unique brand. Compared to the standard Leon, it's not just a badge change, you get a car that sits 2 to 2.5 centimeters lower than the Seat, 19-inch alloys, Brembo brakes, and all the rest. It came in 2 main specs as well with this level of performance, the VZ2 and VZ3, with the VZ3 being slightly better equipped as it got extra features like heated leather seats and steering wheel and some slightly different alloys. And to buy one brand new last year, you would have needed to spend around £41,000 to get into one, which is a lot of money in the hot hatch world, significantly more than both cars we've just spoken about. Today, however, they start at around 30k, less than the i30N in fact, with many sitting at around or under the 32k mark. That comes out at 26.83% depreciation in just 1 year, or £11,000 gone in total, which I would say is completely avoidable. You know these are going to depreciate. And hang on for a second, let me carry on this train of thought. There isn't really that much in terms of optionality on these, so it's highly likely that you could buy a second-hand one a couple of years old and get exactly what you want on it. So why do people front the depreciation from new? It genuinely baffles me. Anyway, that depreciation will have given owners a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 engine, making 295 brake horsepower, taking them to 60 in 5.5 seconds, not bad at all. Yet despite being more powerful than the i30N, it's slower to 60, and many reviews have noted that all in it isn't as hardcore a hot hatch, tuned more towards comfort alongside that performance. That's no bad thing on a day-to-day, and that might have actually added to the depreciation, mostly because the Cupra Leon VZ3 with its nice heated leather seats lends itself to being a company car or a nice leaser for the family, which therefore might also help with the depreciation when a bunch of them hit the second-hand market. So I hope you guys are enjoying this video. If you are, then do hit the like button and subscribe as well if you're new. And I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Are hot hatchbacks too fast nowadays? I know the old ones used to be much less fast and much more easy to rag around. Today they are ridiculously fast. I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Somehow, despite their premium brand names, the two most depreciated cars on this list are also the two most expensive from the most typically expensive manufacturers on the list. When I started making this video, I expected the Cupra to be up there as the most depreciated given its price and the badge, but no. Taking second on this list is the Mercedes A35H AMG, the most recent update of the slightly less hot version of the A45. I say A35H because as of 2023 the car comes with a mild hybrid system that supports the engine, ensuring it continues to provide constant power at all times. That engine is a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 which puts out 301 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 4.5 seconds, which makes it the quickest car on the list and the joint most powerful. Some people have turned their noses up at the A35 badge more broadly because it's not quite a full A45 in terms of performance, similar to how people have sometimes turned noses up at the C43 AMG, but in reality this car offers really good value for money, especially second hand, considering that performance. As hot hatches get continuously hotter, what we accept as normal changes massively. I mean, compare the power of this car that's supposedly a step down to hot hatches 10 years ago, and it's absurd the performance this thing offers. Anyway, if you bought one in 2023, it would have cost you around £46,000 brand new, making it the most expensive car on the list. Now, however, you'll find them for a minimum of around £32,000, with many sitting at under the 35k mark. That means depreciation of 30.43%, literally just less than the car taking the top spot on this list, but it has also lost the most actual money at £14,000 total. The car definitely has, in my opinion, the best looking interior on the list, and it's got great exterior looks too, though as I've said before, build quality has sometimes been questioned by owners on these, which simply would have never been a thing on Mercedes built in the 1980s, for example. But I don't think that's a key reason behind the depreciation. As I said, it's the knowledge that there's a faster, more premium variant on the market to buy instead. Taking the top spot in this video is this, the BMW M135i, thanks of course to its particularly high depreciation figures in the space of just 1 year. Genuinely, if you bought a base spec model in 2023, you would have spent a minimum of £42,000, slightly more than the Cupra. Now, however, you'll find the cheapest ones listed at £29,000, with quite a few sitting at the 31.5k mark, meaning it's now cheaper than the Cupra all in. It also means that the car has lost 30.95% of its value in just 1 year, and none of these initial prices for each car have been adjusted for inflation, so from an investment perspective it's an even worse picture. That's 13k lost in just 1 year, by the way, just £1,000 less than the Mercedes. I think that might be partly thanks to this car's engine. engine, a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 which makes 301 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 4.6 seconds, slightly slower than the A35H2, plus another factor for depreciation is it being all-wheel drive. So let's just lay this one out on paper. The M140i from the previous generation had a 3-litre turbocharged inline-6 which put out 335 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in around 4.5 seconds, and it was rear-wheel drive as BMW are known for. The M135i that preceded that had its own 3-litre turbocharged inline-6, putting out 322 brake horsepower in the later years, taking it to 60 in around 4.7 seconds, and of course was rear-wheel drive too. So we've gone from more powerful cars with more typical BMW engines and a more typical BMW drivetrain, which get to 60 give or take about the same, to one with the same basic engine all the other hot hatches have, the same old all-wheel drive that Mercedes and VWs have for example, less power and give or take the same performance figures. And loads of people have named it ugly to add insult to injury. Did anyone actually expect this car to do well on values, or am I missing something here? And I'm not saying it's a bad car, in fact I had a really good look around one and I actually think it's pretty nice, but it's not the most BMW-ish BMW of all time, which therefore loses the hardcore BMW fan base. And so there you have it, 5 depreciated hot hatchbacks that have dropped a ton in their first year of ownership. Do hit like if you want to see more videos like this. Click up here to see a video on some depreciated luxury cars from last year instead. Subscribe as well down here. Huge thanks to the patrons for their support, and to you guys all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.